Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 116 of the Nigeria Football Weekly podcast. Me, your host, Uche. I'm testing a new setup, so bear with me in the way things look, but I hope that the quality of the audio and the sound and the visuals is much better on this new setup. So what am I going to be talking about today? Of course, the Africa Cup of Nations Group Stage draw was made on Monday, and I must say Nigeria got quite a favorable draw. So what do we know so far? The Africa Cup of Nations for 2025 will be held in Morocco from December 21st, 2025, so in about 11 months' time, and will go up until January 18th, 2026. So a lot can change. We know a year in football is like a lifetime, so look out for that one. But Nigeria have been drawn into Group C, where we will play Tunisia, Uganda, and Tanzania. So I'm doing a quick rundown on these opponents that we'll be facing, and then also touching on the other AFCON groups. So, I mean, if you just look at the group in its initial, phase, you have to say Nigeria are strong favorites in this group. You know, there should be no excuse to not get 9 points from 9 in this game, to be honest. Obviously, Tunisia were drawn out of Pot 2, so Nigeria were in Pot 1 as one of the top 6 seeded teams in Africa. Tunisia will always be a tough game. Let's not make any mistake about that. Tunisia are no slouches by any means or shape or form, you know. However, you have to say that Nigeria is the far better team, and we would expect our team to perform really well in this game against the Cranes of Tunisia. What do we know about Tunisia right now? They're ranked 52nd in the world. Their star player is Youssef Msakni. He's their second most capped player, third highest goal scorer in their history. Midfielder. He's now 34, so it's touch and go for the tournament. He may or he may not play for that tournament. They also have a player called Elis Skiri. So he's got 70 caps and 3 goals, and he plays for Eintracht Frankfurt. So he's one of the better players within the Tunisian team. And of course, we know Hannibal Medji, who came to the Manchester United Academy, but currently plays for Burnley in the Championship. At the moment, they have no coach, so that's another thing to just look out for in terms of their current situation. AFCON qualification was fairly straightforward for them, but not too straightforward. They qualified in second place in their group behind Comoros. So Tunisia won 3 out of their 6 games. They drew 1 and they lost 2. In fact, the best thing you can say about Tunisia, I mean, it's very wobbly. They even lost at home to Comoros. So even though Tunisia, we know we usually do well in these tournaments, especially when it's in North Africa, it has to be said that right now, Tunisia's group of players is not the best that they've had in their history at all. In fact, I'll say it's probably one of their weakest in a minute, even though they're doing fairly well in World Cup qualifiers. So just note that. However, to still come out of a group with Gambia and Comoros, they must be commended. But they lost 2 of their home games. They lost at home to Gambia and they lost at home to Comoros. 1-0, 1-0 both times. Tunisia's games are very, very low scoring, you know. Yes, they beat Madagascar away 3-2. And they beat Gambia 2-1 away. But all their games are 1-0, 2-1, 1-1. So it's going to be a very low-scoring affair. So if we can score the first goal in this game, I feel like we'll definitely get the better of the Tunisians in this game. It won't be the first game anyway. I think we play Tanzania first, so look out for that one. In World Cup qualifying, Tunisia are doing okay. They don't really joke around World Cup qualifiers. So out of 4 games so far, they've won 3 and they've drawn 1. So they're in pole position to qualify for the World Cup. So we have to take that into mind because it's going to affect their morale when they play Nigeria, and they should be in good spirits if they qualify for the World Cup. And we know at the moment Nigeria is still Higi-Haga for us, so let's see what happens in that one. Moving on to the head-to-head. Our head-to-head with Tunisia is not great, actually. We've played them a total of 21 times. We've beaten them 6 times. We've drawn with them 8 times, and they've beaten us 7 times. So almost neck and neck in the whole thing. Obviously, the most memorable one that we all remember is the AFCON in 2021 AFCON that was played in January 2022, when Nigeria had 9 points from our first 3 games, and we played Tunisia in the round of 16. And then Maduka Okoye made a mistake, which meant Tunisia won 1-0. Iwobi got sent off. Osimhen did not play in that tournament. Obviously, we rectified that in last year's AFCON by going to the final. But I'm sure a lot of Nigerians would still love to get revenge for that loss. In fact, that was our first loss against the Tunisians since the 2004 Africa Cup of Nations, where we lost to them in the quarter-final, or was it the semi-final? No, the semi-final, sorry, because that AFCON, Okocha scored for us and we beat Cameroon very well. That was Osayi's debut tournament for Nigeria. Tunisia, you remember, hosted that tournament and went all the way to the final and actually won the tournament in 2004. So since that 2004, we did not lose to Tunisia until that game that Maduka played in. So you have to say that Nigeria, we should still expect to be beating Tunisia, and I expect no less, even though the game is going to be in Morocco. Moving on to Uganda. Uganda, to be honest, Uganda and Tunisia, no disrespect to these two Uganda and Tanzania, no disrespect to these two countries, but Nigeria, we should be whitewashing you guys. I know you both are going to host the next Africa Cup of Nations after Morocco in 2027, alongside with Kenya. So they would love to put on a quite good showing in this tournament in preparation for that tournament. But make no mistake about it, Nigeria now still be big boys we be, man. So we got to show these teams, man. I don't want to hear no excuses. Uganda are ranked 88th in the world. Majority of their players play in the domestic league. They have a striker called Dennis Omedi. He's got 2 goals in 10 caps for Uganda, but those 2 goals were in qualifying for this AFCON. They've got a Belgian coach, Paul Pot. I saw his interview after the draw where he was giving respect to Nigeria, rightfully so. But I'm sure he'll feel confident that Uganda and Tanzania would hope to be able to beat Tunisia on a given day or even qualify as the 3rd best placed team in the group. So watch out for that one. AFCON qualifying, it must be said, Uganda qualified very well. They played 6 games, they won 4, they drew 1 and they lost 1. Their only loss, I believe, was to South Africa. They lost to South Africa 2-0 at home, which is fair enough. And in fact, when they went South Africa's home, it took a last-minute equalizer from the South Africans to draw 2-2. Uganda were on their way to winning this game 2-1. And then when they played Republic of Congo and South Sudan, you have to say Uganda dispatched them quite easily. So Uganda are one to be watched. We must not take them for granted in this tournament. However, in World Cup qualifying, Uganda are currently struggling, although they've got quite a tight group. They've got 2 wins and 2 draws from their first 4 games. They're in the same group as Algeria, Mozambique, Botswana, Guinea, and Uganda. And Somalia are the bottom team in this group, but all 5 teams either have 6 points at the moment or 9 points at the moment. So this is going to be one to watch, and it's going to go down to the wire. So you never know. Uganda might even make the World Cup, but I'll still put my money on Algeria in this group. Head-to-head, interestingly enough, our head-to-head against Uganda is terrible. We've played Uganda 8 times, and we've lost 4 times. We've drawn twice, and we've won twice. In fairness, 4 of those losses, 1 came in 1978, 1 came in 1981, so I don't even know if that one counts. But somehow, they also beat us in Africa Cup of Nations qualifier in June 2007. And in an international friendly in 2015. In fact, the last time we played Uganda was in 2018 and we drew against them 0-0. So there's a lot to be rectified there. We've only beaten them twice, once in 1992 2-0 and once in the year 2007 1-0. So Nigeria, please don't disgrace me. Uganda are no match for us. I don't know if they have this head-to-head to us, but we need to show them pepper when the time comes, please. I don't want to hear those stories, guys. So fingers crossed that's how it's going to go when we play Uganda. And finally, Tanzania will be making their 4th appearance at an African Cup of Nations. You know, they're definitely what you would call minnows on the African soil. They're ranked 106th in the world. They do have a star player. You guys remember Mbwana Samata. He played a half a season in the Premier League for Aston Villa. He also went to Fenerbahce and he now plays at PAOK, although he's 34 years old, so one to watch. At the moment, they have an interim coach, Hemed Morocco, so watch out for that one. And as I said, they'll be desperate to shine alongside Uganda because they're both going to be co-hosting the next Africa Cup of Nations alongside Kenya. In World Cup qualifying, Tanzania actually doing okay so far, you know. In the AFCON qualifying, they did pretty well. They had 6 games. They won 3, they drew 1, and they lost 2 in the same group as DR Congo. They actually qualified ahead of Guinea, who have Naby Keita and Cyril Guirassy. So imagine those that Guinean journalist that was angry when Lookman won AFCON. African Football of the Year. Imagine Cyril Guirassy could not even fire Guinea to AFCON qualification. And you are saying you want to be best player in the tournament, in the continent. Sorry, get out of here. You're chatting rubbish as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, decent results for Tanzania here. They even beat Guinea away 2-1. You know, so that's quite an interesting one to notice. But to be honest, Nigeria, we should be whitewashing them. So good luck to Tanzania when they come and play us. World Cup qualification, they're in with the chance as well. They're in the same group as Morocco. Morocco have won all their games so far, so I'd expect Morocco to run to qualification. However, they're currently joined second alongside Niger with 2 wins from their first 3 games. So they may be able to snag one of the best second place spots and play in a Confederation playoff. They're head-to-head against Nigeria. Really, really bad for Tanzania. We've played them 8 times. We've beaten them 5 times, and we've drawn 3 times. and the last time we played them was in 2016 in a 1-0 win for the Super Eagles. Moving on to my general draw thoughts, I think it was quite a good draw. There's quite a lot of good games for us to watch out for during this Africa Cup of Nations. Group A has the host Morocco, who play alongside Mali, Zambia and Comoros. Group B's got Egypt alongside South Africa, Angola and Zimbabwe. I've already mentioned our Group C. Then we'll see Group D with Senegal, DR Congo, Benin Republic and Botswana. Group E consists of Algeria, Burkina Faso, Equatorial Guinea and Sudan, with Group F rounding up the draw with Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Gabon and Mozambique. So I think there's at least 4 groups here where they're quite tasty ties, and I think Nigeria, we've been given the best group out of all the top seeds. You know, Group A with Morocco and Mali, that's going to be a heavyweight clash. Comoros can always spring a surprise, as we've seen them do in the recent AFCON tournaments. Group B with Egypt, South Africa and Angola. All 3 teams made the quarterfinals of the last AFCON. Forgive me if Egypt went out of the round of 16, but I'm fairly... No, didn't Egypt go out? It was Ghana that went out. I know Egypt did not do that well. But South Africa and Angola. South Africa finished third. Angola, we had to beat them in the quarterfinals. So remember Mabululu. So that's going to be a very tough group. Even Group D, Senegal, Congo and Benin, all West African teams, and on any given day, they could show each other shaggy. Actually, DR Congo is not really West Africa. It's more like Central Africa, but you get my point. And then even Group F, I think Group F is one to watch out for. Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Gabon. Mozambique are much better than people think as well. So watch out for this game. Of course, when AFCON comes around, we'll do a much bigger preview, and it should be nice and entertaining for everyone's viewing pleasure. So look out for that when the time comes. Who do I think will be a surprise team? Not really a surprise team, but I think Algeria will have a much better AFCON compared to the last 2 that they've had. They're going to be in familiar territory in the north of Africa, and I think they have a settled team where they also have quite a good number of dual nationals coming through in their team in the form of Amin Giri and co. So watch out for them in this tournament. I also think Gabon and South Africa should continue to do well. They will surprise people. You know, it's Aubameyang's last chance to do something well for his country, apart from making the World Cup, and we all know how settled the South Africans are. You know, hopefully we can dim their lights by making sure we qualify for the World Cup ahead of them. But make no mistake about it, South Africa are a very, very good team, and we must be wary playing them. Minnows who could shock, I think Mozambique. When you look at how they're doing in World Cup qualifying, and they have a pretty settled team. Remember how they also played in the last AFCON when they gave Egypt and Ghana a very, very strong run for their money. So look out for Mozambique. I think there's 4 favorites in this tournament. 2 North African teams, Morocco and Egypt. I think Egypt have the ability to win the tournament. Morocco are the hosts. They haven't won an AFCON since 1976, so they'll be desperate to impress. And I think the 2 West African nations with the best chances of winning, Senegal, you can never underrate Senegal. You know, Mane is still doing well. They still have a core group of, you know, veterans in their team, while having the likes of Lamine Camara, Ismail Assar, Pape Matsar, you know, a good amount of youngsters to also complement the old brigade. And of course, I think Nigeria, we have to say that we're one of the favorites, despite how our World Cup qualifiers have gone. You know, we made the final in a very hostile Cote d'Ivoire. Yes, we lost the final, but if you play that game 10 times out of 10 times, I think we win 9. If Pesero just has less defensive tactics, you know. So I think Nigeria, it's time for us to go one step further, like Joseph Yobo said in the draw, and bring home the trophy. Who do I think will play of tournament? I mean, I cannot bet against our players. I think Victor Osimhen, it's time to rise again. You know, he'll probably be playing in the Premier League by the time the tournament comes, hopefully. Lookman may also have moved clubs. I just want to see our players take the next step up, whether it's the Christantus Uches of the world, the Rafael Yedikas, or even our centre-backs, you know, the Basseys, the Ola-Ainos. I hope they continue to impress and improve, which means that by the time the tournament comes, hopefully we'll have also qualified for the World Cup. So our players be feeling much more confident about playing, which should help with our input and impact at the tournament. So that's it in terms of the African Cup of Nations. Of course, next time we speak about Nigeria will be the World Cup qualifiers in March, where we play Rwanda and Zimbabwe. And Eric Chelle also mentioned in his post-draw interview that he's focused on the World Cup qualifiers, rightfully so. So good luck to the Super Eagles, and I cannot wait. Hopefully we'll even be able to go to Morocco, so watch this space. So moving on to our usual reviews of our players and how they've performed in their different leagues. Starting with the Premier League as usual, it was not a good day out for the Nottingham Forest boys. They got absolutely packed 5-0 by Bournemouth. Let's just say it was a bad day at the office. Awoni came on to play 11 minutes as usual, and Olaino started his game, but it wasn't his best output. But hey, they're third. They do well in the Prem, so cut them some slack, and hopefully they'll do better in the next games that they play. Next up for them, they play Brighton at home on Saturday, so they'll be looking to bounce back in that that match. Moving on to Fulham, Alex Iwobi and Bassey both played 90 minutes as Fulham got their customary 1-0 loss to Manchester United. Even if Man United are struggling, for some reason they always beat Fulham. So better days for our boys in white. Next up for Fulham, they play Newcastle at St James's Park. That's going to be a tough game. Yes, Newcastle beat Southampton in the last game, but we know that the last time they played at St James's, they got packed in by Bournemouth. Was it even 4-1? With Kluivert's hat-trick. So I expect a very tasty game here, and Fulham will be looking to bounce back after that loss. Ndidi still injured, but good to see Leicester get a win at Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, it's the history of the Tottenham, what can I say? And finally, Aribo and Onuachu both started for Southampton as they lost 3-1 to Newcastle United. It must be said that Alexander Isak looks phenomenal. Like, when you look at the 2 goals he scored, they just look beautiful and brilliant. So what else did we see in the Premier League over the past week? We saw Everton snatch a fantastic win away at Brighton. Real smash and grab. Iliman Ndiaye with a penalty. Liverpool romped to a 4-1 win over Ipswich Town with usual suspects scoring. Gakpo scored 2, Szoboszlai scored 1, and Salah got 1 in that game. Arsenal, we managed to beat Wolverhampton 1-0 thanks to Ricardo Calafiori. God bless you, you beautiful man. Manchester City beat Chelsea 3-1. Sanchez, what the hell are you doing? But I'm not complaining that Chelsea's downfall, you know. It was very interesting to see. We also saw Tottenham lose at home to Leicester, as I mentioned already. Brentford managed to beat Crystal Palace 2-1 away, which was a very impressive result for them as well. And then we saw Aston Villa and West Ham draw 1-1. And then finally, we saw the Man United game where they beat Fulham 1-0 on Sunday night. What are the games to look forward to coming up? Nottingham Forest will play Brighton in the early kickoff on Saturday. Newcastle hosts Fulham in a 3 p.m. kickoff. Everton hosts Leicester City in a 3 p.m. kickoff. Ipswich Town hosts Southampton in a 3 p.m. kickoff as well. And Bournemouth will be hosting Liverpool in a 3 p.m. kickoff as well. So that should be a tasty game, and hopefully Bournemouth could help us, Arsenal fans, by getting some points off Liverpool. Wolverhampton will play Aston Villa in the Midlands Derby in the 5:30 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we've got a few big games. Man United hosts Crystal Palace, 2 p.m. kickoff UK time. Brentford also hosts Tottenham, 2 p.m. kickoff time. And then the big one, Arsenal versus Man City, 4:30 p.m. UK time on Sunday. And then Chelsea will play West Ham at Stamford Bridge to wrap up the games for this week. How does the table look? Nothing's really changed since last week. The main thing to know is Man City are now in the top 4. So Liverpool still lead with 53 points, Arsenal 47 points, Nottingham Forest 44, and Man City are on 41 points, level with 5th place Newcastle, who have 41 points. Then we have Chelsea and Bournemouth both on 40 points. So at the moment, you can see that the race for 3rd and 4th is going to be very tasty. Or maybe even second place with Arsenal, how we're performing, you know, nothing is set in stone. So that's it in terms of the Premier League. Moving on to the other league, starting with Serie, and we saw Ademola Lookman in action. He played 78 minutes as Atalanta beat Como 2-1 on Saturday. Unfortunately, he's now injured, so do not expect him to play against Barcelona away later today because the Champions League games are all happening tonight. However, he may be back for the game against Torino on Saturday, so let's see how that one goes. As for Dele-Bashiru was in action for Lazio. They beat Real Sociedad 3-1 in Europa League initially, and then he played 45 minutes as they lost 2-1 to Fiorentina on Sunday. They will also be wrapping up their qualification for the Europa League Group Stage this Thursday, Braga away, although they're top of the group, so they're already confirmed 1st or 2nd, which is nice, and then they'll play Cagliari away. Samuel Chukwueze, we got some good news from Chukwueze. He came off the bench and scored a 95th minute winner for AC Milan. Very scrappy winner, to be fair, but man, a goal is a goal, man, and God knows he needed it. So they beat Parma 3-2. They were losing 2-1 at stoppage time, and then they scored 2 goals in stoppage time to win the game 3-2. So very big boost for AC Milan. Next up for them, they play Dynamo Zagreb tonight. As long as they win that game, they'll be one of the top 8 qualifiers and go automatically to the round of 16 of the Champions League. And then we've got the Milan derby on Sunday with AC Milan playing Inter Milan. As for Maduka Okoye, he's still injured, but Udinese's goalkeeper that they signed has been accused of being involved in a betting scandal. So make of that what you would like. But let's just say very interesting times in football. In the Bundesliga, we saw Tella play 68 minutes on Tuesday as Atletico Madrid. Bayer Leverkusen lost 2-1 to Atletico Madrid. Victor Boniface was on the bench for that game. On Saturday, we saw Boniface be an unused sub and Tella came off the bench for 25 minutes. However, we now know that Boniface may be off to Al Nassr to play with Ronaldo and Mane. So watch this space. As at today, I know that they said it's between him or John Duran. Obviously, sentimentally, I hope he stays in Europe and plays for the best clubs. But hey, you can never be looking at another man's pockets. Go and get your bread if that's what you desire. And good luck to you. So let's see how that goes. Tonight, they'll be playing Sparta Prague at home, so they should definitely win that game. They have a chance of being one of the top 8 sides, so let's see how they get on in that game. But of course, Boniface is out of the squad for now. And then they play Akpoguma's Hoffenheim on Sunday in the league. Speaking of Akpoguma's Hoffenheim and Gift Orban, last week, Thursday, they played against Tottenham Hotspur and lost 3-2 at home. Akpoguma played 90 minutes. And then on Sunday, Gift Orban came off the bench in the 63rd minute and scored the equalizer for Hoffenheim, which is also his first goal of the season for them, in a 2-2 draw against Eintracht Frankfurt on Sunday. So good to see Gift Orban off the mark for his new club. They will also be in action in Europe on Thursday, Anderlecht away, so that'll be a tough game. And then they, of course, play Leverkusen away on Sunday. In La Liga, more good news for Nigerian footballers. Christantus Uche played 90 minutes, scored his second goal of the season, and also got an assist in a 3-0 win for Getafe away at Real Sociedad. This was a classic smash and grab, man. But I like Christantus Uche's awareness. His goal was a rebound, but he was in the right place at the right time. And then his assist, he just laid it back nicely for Carles Perez to put the ball to make it 3-0. So wonderful result for Getafe, and boy, did they need that, because they're now 14th. I also love the video of him saying, "I'm back and I'm better." That's kind of energy I love to see, and of course, I hope he's in the Super Eagles squad in March. Next up for Getafe, they play Sevilla at home on Saturday, 2 p.m. kickoff. So look out for that game. Speaking of Sevilla, we're not going to talk about Iwobi again. He does not play for them. Uche did play 28 minutes. He came off the bench in their 1-1 draw against Espanyol on Saturday. And in more good news, Sevilla continues to fall in love with Nigerian players. They have signed Akor Adams to play for their team. He signed yesterday on a 4-year deal. And I'm telling you, Akor Adams, the potential is amazing. I like that he's gone from Montpellier suffering straight to Sevilla, who are not exactly doing that well, but they're still 12th and mid-table. And we know the prestige of Sevilla outside of Madrid and Barcelona. You have to say they're up there with Atletico Madrid in terms of the amount of things they win and the way they perform. So look out for that space, and we wish him all the best. Hopefully he'll make his debut against Getafe away and he can even score. As for Omar Sadiq, he was on the bench in their 7-1 loss to Barcelona over the weekend. Probably one of the few times that a player is grateful that he didn't get to play a match, because Barcelona beat the shit out of these guys, man. They're really rubbish. Finally, in League One, Osayi-Samuel played 90 minutes for Nantes and came up with a 90th minute assist for Nantes as they drew 1-1 against Lyon. So good performance from Osayi-Samuel as well. But as I've said, he's a big fish in a small pond, but he seems to like it like that. So good for him. Next up for them, they play Reims away on Sunday. As for Lens, Hamza Ojediran was on the bench for Lens in their as they beat Angers 1-0 on Sunday. So they're 7th and doing quite well. Let's see if he gets some game time when they play Montpellier away on Friday. As for Gabriel Ocho, he missed the last game for Auxerre due to suspension, but he should be back in the team as they play Monaco away on Saturday. Moving on to the non-top 5 leagues, starting with Victor Osimhen. Of course, he played 90 minutes, scored a goal, and got a yellow card last week, Tuesday, as Galatasaray drew with Dynamo Kiev 3-3 in the Europa League. Very, very bad result considering they were winning 3-1. And they're already in pole position for one of the top 8 spots. Now they have to make sure that they win tomorrow away against Ajax to be sure of a top 8 spot. But over the weekend as well, Osimhen scored the only goal from the penalty spot as Galatasaray beat Konyaspor 1-0. Their goals have slowed down, so I'm sure they'll be hoping to bounce back, but let's see how it goes. And then in the league, they play Gaziantep away on Monday. As for Fenerbahce, Osayi-Samuel played 90 minutes and got a yellow card as Fenerbahce drew 0-0 against Lyon on Thursday. He then came off the bench in the 90th minute on Sunday, so just minimal minutes, as they beat Rizespor 3-2 Godzepe in the league. They will also be in action in the Europa League. They play Midtjylland away on Thursday, and then they play Rizespor at home on Sunday. Speaking of Rizespor, they won their last game 3-2 with Nigerian player Ibrahim Olaoyin getting a goal in that game. Moving on to Portugal, Zedu Sainz was on the bench for Porto's 1-0 loss over Olympiacos in the Europa League on Thursday. He then played 35 minutes in their 1-1 draw against Santa Clara on Sunday. I don't know what's happening, but all the big teams in Portugal, they're just doing rubbish. Benfica or Sporting Lisbon or Porto. But anyway, good to see Sanusi get some minutes. Let's see if he plays against Maccabi Tel Aviv away on Thursday in Europa League, and then they play Real Ave away on Monday. As for Boavista, Onyemaechi signed off very, very well for Boavista. He scored a goal and got an assist as they lost 3 to Casapia on Monday. And a few days ago, it got announced that he signed a 3.5-year deal for Olympiacos. So I like the step up in quality, playing for one of the best, if not the best team in Greece. We know they won the Europa Conference League last year. So the expectations is what I like to see. When a player is playing that kind of environment where they demand excellence, it's good for his career and his rep. And hopefully he will shine and soar in that position. In Belgium, Arokodare got yet another goal plus an assist as Genk beat Westerlo 2-1 on Saturday. Next up for him, he plays best shoot at home on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure he should be called up for the next Nigeria squad. As for Onyeka played 80 minutes as Club Brugge drew 0-0 against Juventus in the Champions League last week. It doesn't get any easier for them because they play Manchester City tonight away at City of Manchester, and Manchester need to win this game to make sure they don't drop out of the Champions League altogether. But Club Brugge are also in pole position to get one of the spots for the playoff rounds, so good luck to them in that game. Also, Club Brugge have signed a Nigerian 18-year-old centre-back Vince Osuji on a 4.5-year contract, so love to see the faith that they have in Nigerian players, and of course we'll continue to track Vince Osuji now that he signed for them. Finally, Jordan Torunariga played 90 minutes for Ghent in their 0-0 draw against Leuven. In Scotland, Cyril Desert's hot streak continued, man. He scored a goal, fantastic goal against Man United, even though they lost 2-1 on Thursday after Bruno Fernandes scored the last-minute equalizer. Desert chested the ball down, brought it down, and just banged it straight with his left foot. It was just a fantastic goal. So Desert's fantastic form continues. He also scored, he was not in the squad. He scored yet another goal to make it 6 goals in his last 4 games over the weekend as they beat Dundee United 3-1 on Sunday. So shout out to you, Deserts, man. Your form, may your form continue. Next up for them, they play Saint Gilloise at home on Thursday. Then they play Ross County at home on Sunday in the league. Czech Republic, Igor Ugbo played 72 minutes as Slavia Prague lost 2-0 to PAOK. They've been a disaster in the conference in the Europa League, which is so sad to see. Let's see how they get on against Malmo tomorrow. And as for Victor Olatunji, he did play 79 minutes but got a yellow card as they lost 2-1 to Inter Milan in the Champions League. They will be playing by Leverkusen tonight, so let's just say Sparta Prague will bow out on a decent term because it doesn't look like they're going to make the top 24 spots. And as for South Africa, good to see Stan Nwabali back for Chippa United. He played 90 minutes and made 5 saves in their 2-1 win over Lamontville Golden Arrows on Saturday. So really fantastic to see after the tragedy he's had to deal with throughout this year, and lovely to see the Super Eagles #1 back in business. As for ones to watch later today, the Champions League, what are the permutations? Lookman is not going to play, but anyway, Atalanta are 7th with 14 points. They need a win to guarantee automatic qualification, but at the very least, they will go into the playoff rounds. Samuel Chukwueze AC Milan are 6th. They've got 15 points. As long as they win today, they will qualify automatically for the round of 16 and bypass the playoffs. As for Onyeka, Club Brugge are currently 20th with 11 points and they're 3 points above Man City. So they must do their best to not lose today, and it's going to be a tough one. But let's see if they can still at least qualify for the playoff round. But they need a draw or win to help them. And as for the Leverkusen boys, they're currently 8th and level on points to goal difference, separating them from 13th. So they need a win today to be sure of that round of 16 place. So look out for them. As for Olatunji, Sparta Prague are already eliminated. They have just 5 points, so it's done and dusted. In the Europa League, as I said, Dele-Bashiru, Lazio, they've already qualified in first place. They're 3 points ahead of Frankfurt in second. Gift Orban and Akpoguma, Hoffenheim are 28th and 3 points off the playoff round. They have to hope for favorable results, but it's not looking good for them. Osimhen's Galatasaray are 9th, 1 point behind Steaua Bucharest in 8th. They need to win and hope for other teams above them to drop points. So look out for that game on Thursday, and they need to win away against Ajax. Osayi-Samuel's Fenerbahce are 23rd, and I mean, it's safe to say Mourinho is not going well for Mourinho at Fenerbahce so far. They need to win to at least guarantee a playoff position on Thursday, so look out for that. Porto are 25th. They need to win or they're eliminated. I don't know what's happened to Porto, man. They used to be very good in Europe, but not this year. As for Rangers, on the other hand, they're doing really well. They're 13th, so they'll make the playoffs. A win for them could allow them sneak into the top 8, so look out for that game and let's see how they perform. Other ones to watch on Saturday back in league action. Ola Aina and Awoni is Nottingham Forest who play Brighton. Getafe's Christantus Uche will be in action against the Sevilla boys, Akor Adams and Aina. Bassey and Iwobi's Fulham go away to St. James's Park in a 4 p.m. kickoff in Nigeria. Onuachu and Aribo Southampton play fellow relegation strugglers Ipswich Town away, so good chance for them to get some points. On Sunday, we'll see Chukwueze and Tella. I don't think Boniface will play if he goes to Al-Nassr, but hopefully they choose John Duran and Boniface stays there. But they'll be playing Hoffenheim's Gift Orban and Akpoguma, so battle of the Nigerians. And we'll also see the Milan derby on Sunday as Chukwueze's Milan host Inter Milan in the same stadium. On Monday, we will see Dele-Bashiru's Lazio go away to Cagliari. And then David Okereke's Gaziantep will be hosting Victor Osimhen's Galatasaray in the Turkish League. Star Boy of the Week, bronze medal this week. I'm giving it to Tolu Arokodare. Continues to flourish. Got a goal and assist for Genk against Westerlo and remains the top goal scorer in Belgium with 14 goals. Fantastic. Silver medal this week, I'm giving it to Samuel Chukwueze. What a winner for him, even though it was a dodgy goal. But stoppage time winner versus Palmer to still a comeback for them. As I said, they scored 2 goals in stoppage time. So that's always an amazing moment for any player and for any team. Gold medal this week, Christantus Uche. I salute you, man. Fantastic player. 1 goal and 1 assist. All around great display. Full of energy in their 3-0 win away to Real Sociedad, by the way. All around just strong performance in a very, very tough away ground. So you, Christantus Uche, you are my star boy of the week. That's it for this episode of the podcast. As you know, we've ran through how the AFCON groups have shaped up. So looking forward to that. But looking forward to all the football games involving Nigerian players over the next week. Let me know about the new setup and forgive me for any technical challenges. We're back and we're better. Please remember to follow us at Nigeria Football Weekly on all our social media channels, except on Twitter where we're at NFWPOD. Thanks again for listening. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and click a bell for any notification on YouTube so you get the information as soon as it comes. We're very close to 1,000 subscribers, so please run it up for me, and we'll continue to serve you this content back to back. What is every deal? Take care, and until next time, enjoy all the football games. Ciao, ciao. Peace out. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop a video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles and Nigeria, they ever carry last.